to go back to the point we were bringing up that brought us into that conversation is NewsMax. So when Fox News, let me start with this. Chris Evans posted this clip, famous Captain America Chris Evans. And it's John Roberts saying, Trump's campaign has said not all legal votes have been counted, and not all illegal votes have been excluded. Where they're coming up short is evidence. And like, or evidence of fraud or whatever. And then Chris Evans starts laughing like, did you Google search it? Because that's not true. John Roberts was not reporting the truth because the lawsuits from Trump. And this is another thing they do. I can't remember I was watching CNN reality check. They said in Trump's lawsuit, they come out and admit there's no voter fraud. And then they show a highlight on the forms. And they don't highlight the portion where it says we are arguing about 529 ballot irregularities. And then the judge says, so you're not arguing fraud. Not to my knowledge here, sir. They weren't saying there was no fraud, period. It was one lawsuit about 500 ballots. The judge said, are you implying there's fraud on these ballots? No, these are about improperly filled out ballots. They took that clip, factual but not truthful, to manipulate people. So in terms of Fox News, you've got regular people who are like, I literally watched a video of this thing happen and Fox News said it didn't happen later. And they go to NewsMax or they go to OAN. NewsMax seems to do a fairly good job, though they are extremely biased. But I'll tell you my favorite part of all of this is we hear what Barack Obama is saying about the internet, right? Brian Stelter of CNN said it's a threat to our democracy that conservatives are going to NewsMax and Parler because they're not being kept in the confines of the cathedral.
It's our democracy always means do what we want. It's interesting that phrase is getting it's such a begging the question kind of thing, assuming that what you're trying to prove when you use that our democracy, you do not regard the people who view things differently than you as part of your democracy. You view them as illegitimate, deplorable, evil,
ugly chumps
who need to be cast out.
Yeah, ugly chumps.
Well, he's not always wrong.
Okay, that's fair.
I get real triggered when they say the American people. Whenever someone says that and tries to talk about 350 million of us like they know what we're thinking, drives me insane.
All of us?
They don't care about people. And it's maybe a long time ago, the inception of this country, it made sense when a congressperson would represent, back then a congressman would represent 30,000 people. Now with 750,000, all they're doing, especially in Senate races and for federal elections, they look at numbers, raw numbers, the ratings. It's not about the individuals and what they need. It's about the ratings. So they're looking at this the same as like a TV show is looking at. How did we do in last night's debate? Did we score good in the ratings? And I'm using an analogy, but it's basically how many people liked the show. That's it.
I don't think it's that. I think it's more nefarious than that.
I think
a lot, like for example, when Chris Wallace is moderating the debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and he explicitly says when they're trying to teach critical race theory,
and he calls it sensitivity trainings.
All they're teaching is not to be rude to someone who's an immigrant.
He didn't even say critical race theory. He said, Trump, you recently banned sensitivity trainings. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, what? No, he didn't. Did you even read it? That's not what he banned.
And also, to categorize it in that specific way, that's a valid point of view. It's not your place to qualify it and say this is what it means. Let each candidate say their point of view, especially if someone banned it. Why did you ban it? Explain to me.
Right. That wasn't a debate. Right. It was literally just set up against Donald Trump.
And what's interesting is Fox, which has, I think, by far the most loyal audience of all the networks. I think the average Fox viewer watches like 12 hours a day. They are feeling really betrayed that the Fox isn't acting like people who watch CNN thinks Fox acts.
Yeah.
Chris Wallace and Megyn Kelly in 2020 and 2016 were by far the hardest moderators on Donald Trump.
Yeah. And now it's really funny because the left keeps saying, like, whenever Fox says something that's bad for Trump, they go, wow, even Fox News is saying it.
Even Mitt Romney voted for
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mitt Romney. We all think he's, a bastion of conservatism. Corporate politicians who pretend to represent the people. And we're supposed to be surprised. But I tell you what's crazy is regular people are being snapped out of this. And it's like a cascade effect. I guess you call it a white pill. Like, what is that?
Well, that's the red pill. The white pill's hope. But yeah, the red pill.
No, that's what I mean. I mean, the white pill, like, from seeing all these people wake up, it's that there's a path to victory.
Exactly. We thought, here's the definition of the white pill. Hold on. I wrote it down last time I was here because I want to get the wording exactly right.
Of notes.
I have the documents.
He does.
From the Alex.
I have the documents. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Sandy.
Sandy who?
Didn't you get enough trouble with that, Alex? I didn't use that one on the air. Oh. This is the white pill. This is the official definition, you internet nerds. It's possible we will lose. It's impossible that we must lose. That's all you need. And now, increasingly, people are just saying, I'm sick of it. Because in 2008, as I tweeted out, Barack Obama used the internet to get elected. Data mining in 2012, they were all filleting him, so excited, this guy's the greatest thing ever. He used Facebook leverage thing, and now that it goes the other way, the internet's the biggest threat to our democracy. You don't have to have a view on Obama or on the internet to be like, someone is not keeping their story straight. It's like a husband is cheating on you. At a certain point, you're like, these stories just don't add up. I don't believe you.
You know what's weird? This show has some kind of like barrier. Don't ask me why.
It's the beanie.
We had on Alex Jones.
No, it's the
Cognitive dissonance.
It's the tinfoil hat. That's the barrier.
Not only did we have on Alex Jones with Michael, the show got pulled by YouTube. Nobody wrote about it. Just the Washington
it's
Times.
Cognitive dissonance.
What is?
People are unable to qualify it. It's like
What do they write about?
It de-verifies.
They write about Joe Rogan all the time.
No, they don't know where to.
If they start to accept some of the things we talk about or some of the things, it will viscerate their worldview. So they're in their mind. It's like incapable. It's what they call cognitive dissonance.
This is the point I made like in the last 4 years. What if instead of Trump being literally Hitler, he's just like a jerk? What if he's like a mediocre, like William McKinley president, right? But if he's just like mediocre and like a C minus, the whole story falls apart.
Right.
Because then it's like, why am I supposed to be upset? Because guys, he kind of sucks, you know? But it has to be that he's the worst existential threat America's ever had. So it's like they don't know how to deal with things that don't fit into their convenient packaging.
And it's a complicated system. Like I don't like saying the average person because I can't speak for other people, but just trying to learn about the World Economic Forum and things outside of the global, the American government and even the American government itself is super complex. So like to say like president's pretty average, kind of C minus, D plus maybe. Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, I don't think you were actually saying about Trump.
No, but I'm not saying that about Trump. But the point is, like, what if he was? Then all of a
because
sudden,
we all know he's like A++, S class, the best of the best.
He's a very stable genius.
Yes, indeed.
Which is more than obvious. So you agree he's not the villain. If you were to go this route, he's not the villain.
You know what he's gonna say?
The system.
He's gonna say, "I accomplished everything I wanted to in 4 years, so I didn't need a second term."
Oh, snap! You're right. I think you might be right.
And then he'll say, "I never lost. It was stolen." He'll never admit defeat. Or, I mean, we're looking at some goings on, and maybe he's just like, I won the whole time.
Listen, this wouldn't be the first time a cop stole something.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, there you go.
Civil asset forfeiture.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you guys hear Jack Dorsey testified?
Yeah.
It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time.
But he actually said that centralized adjudication of social networks is not scalable.
What does that mean?
Jack Dorsey has been whispering sweet nothings into the ears of everyone for the past several years, and I sat in front of him and he said all of the same things he's repeated over and over again, and he is lying.
He's saying that
every time.
Lying or delusional?
He's lying.
I think he
What's
doesn't
he
have
saying
power.
that's inaccurate?
So he said, we want to have a path to redemption 2 years ago. He's been saying we don't have bias years ago. I explained to him how his bias exists in the rules, and he still feigns ignorance.
Okay.
There's no way at this point he's like, I didn't realize that.
I don't think he owns.
You don't know that though, Tim. It could be people's brains are complicated things. I'm just playing devil's advocate. It could be that when you say things that don't port into his larger worldview, he literally can't process it.
I've DM'd with him.
Okay, I'm talking at him.
No, for sure. I think it's like every single time something bad happens, it's really obvious. He goes, that was a mistake and we're fixing it. And it's like, oh, it was a mistake. You know, there was a poll that came out. There's actually 2 polls showing that when people learned of Hunter Biden's scandal, they regretted voting for Biden.
Oh, wow.
And they said the percentage point was like 5 or 6%, which clearly would have given Trump the victory if people had known. The media kept this a secret. Social media banned the information because they are trying to help. They want to help Joe Biden win. Look, I think it's indisputable at this point because they didn't ban Trump's tax returns. They didn't ban the leaked tapes of Melania. They didn't ban the Edward Snowden leaks. This was, I think, Ted Cruz brought this up. Maybe it was Ted Cruz. Did you ban the Edward Snowden?
What about Julie Swetnick? With Kavanaugh.
Yeah, so that wasn't hacked information, though, right?
No.
The argument was, well, we only banned this because we presumed the information was hacked and we made a mistake.
But what about the Pentagon Papers? This is their big thing. It's like, this is secret government information.
Right.
This is the New York Times at its finest.
It's obviously a lie. It's obviously a lie. So when they were asked about Trump's tax returns, he said, well, they were reporting on them, not giving out the documents or whatever. It's like, okay, well, what about the leaked Melania tapes? Where Melania was secretly recorded. Well, that's not hacking. You know what, dude? They look. A good
What
lo-
about
a
Mary
good-
Trump? Her book, this was, I thought, look,
Hacked information.
No, but Mary Trump secretly recorded her aunt, who's a judge or a retired judge, and the aunt was saying horrible things about her brother Donald, and it's just like, you reported that perfectly fine.
So the point is, Twitter makes up this new excuse. If it's hacked information, we won't allow it, even though it wasn't. But they're using an excuse. It's easy for them to always have an excuse for why they are subverting our commons, our ability to vote, our institutions. There's always an excuse.
This says from the New York Times. This is that Dorsey only owns 2% of Twitter now, so I don't think he has like no power.
I think he's a
anymore.
figurehead.
He gave it up. Yeah. So when he says,
so he's just saying all of these things that have nothing to do with
and
the
he has
company.
no power to change it anymore. Like,
Probably.
Yeah. So, but he did acknowledge that centralized adjudication. Basically, what he was saying is that a company trying to be the arbiter of what can come and go and be banned is not scalable.
it's not. You have to have self-reporting and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah, the data is not. It's impossible.
And that I think Obama was kind of goes along with what Obama was saying about the danger of these social media companies controlling the narrative.
But what I don't think they appreciate, just from, and maybe this is going to be concern trolling, I don't know, but like in the 90s when you had the project, I forget what it was called, Tipper Gore was involved and a few other people, and they were saying like there was all these songs in the radio that were like a problem. You can't have a, Cyndi Lauper's She Bop was one of the songs that they were trying to get banned because it's about pleasuring yourself apparently. So their solution...
Madonna was okay though?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think Madonna was also on that list.
Yeah.
Their solution was when you have a CD in the store to have a big warning label. It contains explicit lyrics. Well, that's how you knew what the good CDs are, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of thing where it's like, oh, this is misinformation. That's like planting a flag, encouraging people to look into it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of memes now going around where people will say something and then put a misinformation tag on it.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.